Hi there, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I'm back again and I'm looking ahead a little bit. Obviously, we're now getting towards the end of July. We've got about a week until the Commander Masters set releases, and I've been going through the spoiler. Now, I'm not touching any. I did mention last week the new Sliver Commander, but I'm not really touching any of the other ones at the moment because I want to have a look at them and think about them in detail. However, I have been going through the set list and having a look at some of the legends that are already available, because most of the set's reprints that I haven't covered. And today I thought we'll kick it off today with this one because it's one I've been wanting to do for a while, and it is Sek'Kuar. I don't know. We'll just call it Sek. Deathkeeper. 2 black, a red, and green for a 4/3 legendary creature Orc Shaman that has the ability that whenever another non-token creature you control dies, create a 3/1 black and red Graveborn creature token with haste. Now, this one sprung to mind because I did see the article the other day where they're actually releasing the Graveborn creature token at long last. It's been on Twitter. You can go and look it up over there. I think there's something on the mothership about the tokens that are coming in, and they talk about how the Graveborn one got missed out when this was originally printed in Cold Snap. As you can see, the version is here online that I own. And that's quite nice, so I thought it's probably worth having a look at Sek and see what we can do with him. So, or her, I'm not really sure what sex this is, to be honest, but we'll go with them. So, Sek. Start with the mana base. As usual, all the blue, I keep doing blue when I'm meaning black, green, and red lands you can think of. Field of the Dead and Fabled Passager here, because, here's a Deathkeeper at the end of the day, so we might keep some pet zombies. That makes sense in my head. 7 of each of the basics, all the jewels you can think of, including Savage Lands and its more expensive version, Zatora's Proving Ground, are both here. Stomping Ground, anything else, Overgrown Tomb, etc. Stadiums. I must say I am pleased they're reprinting the enemy pairings of these lands in the new Commander Master set. That's quite a nice touch. I'm glad they've been announced. That should bring the cost down, not just on MTGO, but also in real life for people who need to pick them up. And I really do rate them, so I suggest people pick them up. Anyway, enough of the sales pitch. I'm not sponsored, so it's fine. Ramp side of things, a little bit expensive on MTGO, but in real life you can drop it. So we're going with Mox Tantalite and Soul Talisman. Mana Crypt you can drop, take it out, you can put something else in, that's fine. But I'm playing it because I'm doing this purely for MTGO at the moment. Soul Rings here, Arcane Signet, and then 1 of each of the talismans. Now, what we want to do with Sek is to sack our creatures off, or kill our creatures off somehow. And I decided to try and go down the traditional let's do a sacrifice deck. You've probably seen a lot of this before, but it makes sense. It's probably the quickest way of making Sek work once you can pick one up, and it's not hideously expensive. There are 1 or 2 cards like Mana Crypt I've already mentioned. There's another one coming up that I'll talk about that you may want to drop out of the deck. But at the end of the day, it's a case of find things, get them, sack the creatures off. Let's keep going, repeating it. So we've got a few things. One of the first ones, we've actually got a Lord of the Rings card in here, Sam's Desperate Rescue. 1 black, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. The ring tempts you. Now, this is the only thing in the deck that the ring gets tempted onto. So you don't have to play if you don't want to. You can change if something else. But, 1 mana to return anything that's actually got killed off from our graveyard to hand. It's actually really quite good value for money. So, hence why it's here. Urborg Repossession does the same thing, but it's got a kicker cost. We gain a couple of life when we return it. Return target creature card from your graveyard to hand, you gain 2 life. If the spell was kicked, return another target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. So for 3 mana, we can get 2 things back from the graveyard, which, considering we're sacking a lot of our creatures off, is a pretty good deal. Yeah. The first thing we were using to sack our creatures off is Viscera Seer, just so we can scry through and sack our creatures off. Impulsive Pilferers here, because when it dies, we get a treasure token, which helps us ramp. Strike It Rich, another way of just getting an easy treasure token, getting a bit of a ramp on. Elixir of Immortality is probably more key in this than some of the other decks I'm playing, because we do need to shuffle everything from our graveyard back into our library at some stage, because at the end of the day we're playing like 29 creatures and 33 other spells, and we are dependent on creatures, non-token creatures dying, so you can go heavier on this. I've decided against it, but just bear that in mind. Okay, up to the second mana value, yeah, cost, whatever you want to call it, 2 drops. Let's go with 2 drops. Priest of the Forgotten Gods. Sack 2 other creatures. Target player loses 2 life and sacrifice a creature. We get a couple of black and draw a card. Zulaport Cutthroat. It basically says whenever another creature we control dies, each opponent loses 1, we gain 1. Dockside is Dockside. Goblin Bombardment's another sacrifice outlet for us. Yeah, it's quite nice if you can ping some things off with it. Blood Tithe Harvester, I think everyone's fed up with seeing in standard at the moment, but hey, it's in this deck because it is black-red at the end of the day. And yeah, okay, only way we've got creating blood tokens this guy, but if he can kill off a 2-2, he can kill off a 2-2, but we can sack him, it's fine. Body Dropper, whenever you sacrifice another creature, this gets bigger. This is a nice one to get into play and then start sacking our creatures off too, because then eventually we can do the black and the red and sack it itself. To something else to do something, but at the end of the day it gives a nice way of getting a big creature through that could potentially be unblockable because of the menace it gains. Jury, Master of the Review, is also here. Whenever you sacrifice any permanent, put a +1/+1 counter on Jury, and when Jury dies it deals damage to its power to any target, which is quite nice in all sorts of shapes and forms. Kalane, Reclusive Painter, comes into play, gives us a treasure token, and whenever creatures you control enter the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 on them for mana from a treasure token to cast them. So, you know, spend your treasures on creatures, they come in bigger. Cool. Croxer, yeah, okay, it's 2 mana. Yeah, comes into play. You can put Sacrifice Trigger on the stack and then sack it to something like Goblin Bombardment if you really want to. We've been through the rest of them bits, and then we have these. These are kind of the key things that are going to trigger this quite happily. It's going to trigger Set quite happily. You've got Demon's Disciple, you've got Fleshbag Marauder, Merciless Executioner, and Playcrafter. They all basically do the same thing. Whenever they enter the battlefield, each player sacrifices a creature or planeswalker. In the case of the Fleshbag Marauder, it was just creatures back then, but all the others have the whole creature or planeswalker ability. Playcraft is a little bit better because if people can't do that, they have to discard a card. But you know, these are the key bits and pieces which are quite good fun with this. So, yeah. So it kills our creature off, gives us a 3/1 with haste, and we get to attack. Thank you. Fine. And clears the board. Victimize. Choose 2 target creature cards in your graveyard. Sack a creature. If you do, return those chosen cards to the battlefield tapped. Yeah, okay then. Aria, Widow of the Realm. First time I've actually got Aria in a deck. And we can sacrifice another creature or artifact, deals X damage to target opponent or battle, where X, and you gain X life, where X is a sacrifice permanent's mana value. We can pay 2 life and 5 to transform it into the Furnace Queen. At the beginning of combat on your turn, return up to 1 target creature or artifact card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste. Exile it at the beginning of the next end step. Now, if I understand this right, if we can sacrifice the creature, it goes back to our graveyard. I don't think it gets exiled. I think. I may be wrong on that. If you know any better, let me know in the comments down below. But I'm pretty sure if I sacrifice creatures off, they go back to the graveyard. I get to do it all over again next combat. But if I'm wrong, let me know down below that I'm an idiot. Thank you. Magus of the Wheel just gives us a way of drawing a whole load of cards and getting this in the graveyard to reanimate. Search for Tomorrow for some land searching. Tireless Tracker gives us some clues to draw some more cards with. Overworld Mysteries, whenever a non-token creature you control dies, investigate and then sack a clue and get a creature. That's nice. Maddie Emporium Master. At the beginning of each end step, create a treasure token for each creature that died this turn. Each creature. Not just ours, our opponents as well. Yeah, okay then. Yeah, I'll just do that. Thanks. Anyway, Mayhem Devil. Whenever a player sacrifices a permanent, it deals 1 damage to any target. Stormclaw Rage is just another sacrifice outlet. Riveter's Ascendancy. Whenever you sacrifice a creature, you may return target creature card or lesser mana value from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Do this only once each turn. So, sack my Murderous Redcap, Return my Mayhem Devil that's been killed. Okay. Sprouting Thorax makes an appearance back from Shards of Alara just so we get some saplings when it dies off. Ashnod's Altar gives us mana when we use it to sacrifice creatures, along with Phyrexian Altar that gives us coloured mana instead of colourless mana. And Bottle Gnome, sack it off instantly, gain 3 life. Could save us the day. Stoutheart, Dark Justicar appears for this one. Another way of sacrificing creatures off. I could have done this with a background, but I decided to do it as a creature in the deck. Damnation to control the board. Deadly Derision just to blow up something that's annoying us. It's a treasure or creature or planeswalker. Dread Return, get something back from the graveyard and we can flash it back by sacrificing 3 creatures. Yep, okay, that works. Big Score, treasures, cards, discarding something useless. Chain Reaction to control the board even more. Glittermonger, just a nice way of getting some extra treasures if we need them to recast things. Parallel Lives makes an appearance in this one. This gathers up all our tokens. Yeah, okay. Murderous Redcap I've mentioned. Prosper is probably one of the top CEDH cards at this moment in time. However, in this deck it just plays a bit part because obviously Sek's our main thing. And at the beginning of our end step, each exile top card of your library, you all know what it does. Why am I reading this out? Everyone knows what Prosper does now. You must have all faced it down by now. It's good. Bear it in mind. Kill it when you see it, but not in my deck. Thank you. And then the Shattergang Brothers. Sacrifice a creature. Each other player sacks a creature. Yep, okay then. We'll cope with that and just get lots of extra value off it. Yeah, we haven't got any enchantment sacrifice. We ain't going to be able to do that. We do have the odd artifact we can sacrifice, but yeah. Anyway, Reveling Riches. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, get a treasure token. This is your backup win, basically, and it's a sneaky one because people forget it's about all their creatures dying, not ours, and you can end up with 10 treasures quite happily. Rise from the Grave returns creature cards from put target creature card from a graveyard onto battlefield under control. Anyone's graveyard, it's good. Tevesh Zat Doom of Fools can come out of this deck if you don't own one. I put one in here because it just gave me another way of sacrificing some creatures off to draw some cards. If you don't own one, it can come out. You can put something else in. Lightning Bolt, Chainer's Edict, something like that. It's fine. Cavalier Knight blows something up when we destroy it and gives another way of sacrificing something to do so. Wake to Slaughter. Choose up to 2 target creature cards in your graveyard and opponent chooses one of them. We return that card to our hand. The other one goes on the battlefield. Under our control, it gains haste exile at the beginning of the next end step. Again, I'm not sure if we sacrifice it in the meantime, it just stays in the graveyard, or it does get exiled from the graveyard. I'm not sure. I would think it stays in the graveyard because it's no longer in play to hit the exile bit. So let me know in the comments if I'm wrong there. Moldavine Reclamation. Whenever a creature you control dies, gain a life draw card. Made sense to have that in here. And Korvold. At the end of the day, I am a sacrifice deck. And Korvold, as we all know from the pre-con decks from back in the day of Eldraine, was just one of the most chased after cards ever when they started doing that lovely format. And yeah, you could quite happily swap Sek for Korvold if you really wanted to, but Sek is what I wanted to concentrate on because it is coming back. But yeah, it's just Korvold. Whenever you sacrifice a permanent, put a +1/+1 counter on it and draw a card. But whenever it attacks or blocks you, enters the battlefield or attacks, you have to sacrifice a permanent. Yeah. Had to be here, sorry. Ever After. Interesting one from Origins. Return up to 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. They become zombies. And then Ever After goes on the bottom of our library. And we get to do it again once we've drawn 80 odd cards, maybe. Rise of the Dark Realms. I still love this card. It's a great way of getting everything back from our graveyard onto the battlefield if everything has been milled, for example, and we hold this. And Blasphemous Act. Just another way of controlling the board. But that's it. That is my take on Sek'Kuar, Deathkeeper. I don't know, I'm sure someone will tell me how to pronounce it in the comments down below. It is coming back, as I said, in the new Master set. for Commander, which I'm pleased to see. I think it's a great card. I don't, this is my take on it. I think it's better doing it this way, with sort of like an aristocrats type feel. There may be a better way of doing that I haven't talked about. If you know it, let me know in the comments down below. Hopefully you've hit the subscribe button though to help me get up to my 500 target now. We're getting there, 219 as I record this, so any help greatly appreciated. Let your mates know, get them to come and subscribe. Thank you. Comments I'll respond to, as always, so let me know what you think. And that's it. Hopefully you'll be back to watch another video at some other stage this week. Take care. Thanks for watching. Bye.